what we saw yesterday is just unbelievable. So eight-count convictions, and for the Mueller team, a win is a win. Incredibly significant verdict showing that the campaign manager for one of the major parties was lying about receiving millions and millions of dollars from Russian-linked interests, and was lying about it at the time he was running the campaign. And then at a courtroom in another state, in a case that is not linked to the Mueller investigation, it was passed over to a different set of prosecutors under a different chain. You had the personal lawyer of the president saying that in coordination with and at the direction of a candidate for office, that, and with the principal purpose of affecting the election, that he committed a felony offense. I can't recall a time in our history where we've had quite such a momentous day.
Yeah, certainly not an afternoon like that. Let's start with one thing at a time, though. Manafort first. President Trump addressed the convictions against Manafort very briefly when he spoke with reporters last night as he was leaving Air Force One on his way to that campaign rally, and said that while he feels badly for him, this is unconnected to him. This doesn't have anything to do with the Russian collusion charges, and that therefore this is still a witch hunt. What do you respond? What's your response to that?
Well, I think if you just look at the Mueller investigation to date, in an incredibly short time for a federal investigation of this complexity that involves both millions of dollars moving surreptitiously, computer hacking crimes, and a counterintelligence conspiracy that cuts across borders. To date, they have obtained 5 guilty pleas. They've indicted 32 individuals and laid out in great detail an unprecedented effort by Putin's Russia to interfere with our democracy as Americans. This has nothing to do with being Republicans or Democrats. This has to do with their fear of democracy, that it's a threat to his regime. And they've brought 187 charges.
But is there anything
already
with Manafort yesterday, and not in these, clearly not in these convictions, but do you think there's more that comes from this? Will Manafort then come to the table and offer any insight he may or may not have about what happened in that situation?
Yeah, it's a good question. Look, it's speculation as to whether or not Manafort's going to come to the table. Has it been the case in my career where after obtaining a conviction, someone changes their mind about the wisdom of cooperating? Absolutely. That can be an awakening event. But even if he doesn't cooperate, again, just take a look at what they were convicted of. It's serious if a campaign manager takes a job for free as campaign manager while they're desperate for money and then tries to cash in on that job. That's what that case was all about. And that they're lying to all of us about accepting millions of dollars. There's going to be another trial coming up this fall that really focuses on the fact that he was a foreign agent at the time and lying about that fact. So stay tuned for the trial that's coming up this fall of Manafort if he doesn't cooperate in the interim.
Rudy Giuliani is already making the point that the truth isn't the truth all the time, that there are going to be different versions of the truth that are out there. How credible of a witness would either of these people be? Would Manafort be, and how credible of a witness would Cohen be?
Well, look, you try to kind of observe the observation and always try to stay out of politics, but I've always thought the truth is the truth. That's how I was raised and brought up. And I think what we have now is it's out of speculation. I think appropriately the investigators and prosecutors let the facts and the charges speak for themselves. They're not doing press conferences. They're not leaking information to the media. But what happened yesterday is it's in court now, right? So we had a jury of the peers under our American criminal justice system that provides more protections than any in the world, find Manafort guilty. It's not speculation anymore. It's not allegation. He's guilty of 8 felony counts. And similarly, you had Mr. Cohen come into court, swear under oath to the judge, and accept a guilty plea. And as you pointed out earlier in your conversation with Eamon, there's no cooperation deal, so he doesn't get any benefit for cooperating. But he pled guilty and said, essentially, I committed a felony and I did it at the direction of the now president. Now, that's unrelated, again, to the Mueller charge, but that's very significant.